Good evening. In a dramatic escalation in the Middle East war, America is warning the hardest hits are yet to come as Iran threatens to blow up more oil tankers.
As missiles rain down on both sides, Westerners in more than a dozen countries have been told to get out now. It's also been revealed Australian troops survived an attack by Iranian drones on their base in the UAE.
This is a live look at Beirut with smoke rising from the latest round of Israeli attacks. Chief reporter Chris Reason begins our coverage.
The capital of Iran under a modern-day blitz. Nothing untouchable. Missile after missile slams into the city. Nothing off limits. Tehran feeling the full force of Israel and American fury. The hospital struck. Incredibly, no one was injured. The US claiming the joint operation is ahead of schedule now. Day 3 ended with 1,200 total targets struck, hunting out Iran's military assets to cripple its nuclear ambitions and break its terrorising grip on the nation.
This was our last best chance to strike what we're doing right now and eliminate the intolerable threats posed by this sick and sinister regime.
But Iran's regime hangs on, battered, not yet broken, and able to inflict another day of revenge, firing back and punishing its regional neighbours, American allies. Attack drones striking the Al Manad airbase in Dubai, a key facility for over 100 Australian troops based there. All were OK. In Saudi Arabia, the US embassy also attacked by drones. Assaults too on a critical oil refinery, one of the largest in the world. Iran is declaring war on global energy, issuing a warning they'll set fire to any ship trying to pass the crucial Straits of Hormuz. Tonight, it's effectively closed. New pictures in on the drone strike on the British airbase in Cyprus, Jordan, the UAE, Israel, all taking hits in the last 24 hours. The loss of life in the region pushing near 600. Confirmation the US has now lost 6 personnel since epic fury began on Saturday. In Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visited the site where 9 died sitting in their shelter, declaring that this war is helping the world.
If they get nuclear weapons and the means to deliver them, ballistic missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, they will threaten all of humanity.
But his country's famous Iron Dome defence is stretched. It can stop 90% of the missiles, hunting them down in the sky. Here, 11 are chasing one of Iran's. They lock in on the target, but it can fail. A new front opened to the north, Lebanon, targeting Hezbollah through to Beirut after the terror group attacked Israeli villages. 52 killed, while thousands fled the barrage of missiles.
Is it gloves off now with Hezbollah?
Hezbollah made a great mistake, and they'll pay for that mistake.
The IDF's chief international spokesman tells 7 News this will not stop until the mission is done.
We're fighting for freedom, for stability, and it's an Israeli problem right now. It could be an Australian problem tomorrow.
But as we're filming...
Still evaluating the numbers.
Right.
Here's one.
Okay.
Here's one.
Okay.
Here's one.
We appreciate your time. Are you coming with us?
Even a military base isn't safe from the threat. All of us forced to head for the bunkers.
The Israeli Defence Force told us here today that the regional spread of this war and its rapid spill into multiple countries came as no surprise, insisting they were not only expecting it, they were prepared for it.
It is an unpredictable war. 3 American fighter jets down. One spiralling out of control after being caught in friendly fire over Kuwait. All 6 specially trained pilots managed to escape safely.
You're safe, you're safe.
Parachuting to the ground.
Thank you for helping us.
If Iran keeps retaliating, America is promising more to come.
The hardest hits are yet to come from the US military.
But what defines mission accomplished? No one seems able to say.
Live to Chris Reason now in Tel Aviv. Chris, there have been more hits on Lebanon.
Yeah, good evening to you, Tim. All through the morning, we have seen them going from the northern border of Israel all the way through to the capital, Beirut. The air thick with black smoke as the Israeli mission there continues to pound that region on Hezbollah targets. Now, the breaking news is that Israel had troops across the border into Lebanon, a very substantial move there. They're denying it's a ground force invasion, just a buffer zone that they're creating. I asked the IDF spokesman in that interview you just saw in our report there, is there a chance that this entire epic fury operation could collapse into the chaos we saw 20 years ago in the Gulf War 2003? He said to me, well, the difficulties of inaction far outweigh the probabilities of action.
OK, Chris, thank you. Let's bring in Rob Scott in Washington, D.C. Rob, we're getting new information on just how close Iran had come to making nuclear weapons.
And Steve Witkoff, who is Donald Trump's top negotiator, says that in the first meeting he held with the Iranians, they boasted about having 460 kilograms of enriched uranium, which was capable of being turned into 11 nuclear bombs. He says that they were openly proud about the fact that they had avoided all sorts of protocols to get to that level. Witkoff says that that stockpile could have been brought up to weapons grade within about a week to 10 days. Now, he held 3 meetings with Iran, trying to get them to agree to stop their uranium enrichment, nuclear enrichment program. He says it was by the end of the second meeting that he knew there would be no deal. All of this as Donald Trump declares tonight that the United States has a munitions store of its own, enough to fight a forever war. At the White House, to a welcome of trombones and horns, the US president was trumpeting war.
We have the strongest and most powerful by far military in the world, and we will easily prevail.
Waxing lyrical about ballroom renovations.
I picked those drapes in my first term. Then when you hear all that hammering out there, you know why the First Lady is not thrilled exactly.
But it's the demolition of Iran, of which he's proudest right now. Honouring families of dead soldiers from wars of the past, as America's toll from Iran doubles to 6. That under a president on a campaign promise.
They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
And in the American heartland, not everyone's happy.
I think it's terrible. This could go on for years.
Are you trying to kill us? Are you trying to cause a World War III?
Today, from the Secretary of State, why America moved and why it moved now. Israel, he said, was going in anyway.
We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces, and we knew that if we didn't preemptively go after them before they launched those attacks, we would suffer higher casualties, and then we would all be here answering questions about why we knew that and didn't act.
And for the first time since the strikes began, we've heard from the Secretary of Defence, Pete Hegseth, who sought to allay fears that this would be another endless war in the Middle East, saying that this is not Iraq.
To the media outlets and political left screaming endless wars, stop. Our generation knows better, and so does this president.
The same from J.D. Vance, who surfaced today too.
There's just no way that Donald Trump is going to allow this country to get into a multi-year conflict with no clear end in sight.
But there are mixed messages from Trump and his team. The president wants Iranians to oust the regime.
Take over your government. It will be yours to take.
This is not a so-called regime change war.
And on the timeline,
4 to 5 weeks.
4 weeks, 2 weeks, 6 weeks. It could move up, it could move back.
Still, the defence secretary, a former soldier himself, came out guns blazing.
We'll go as far as we need to go violently. We set the terms. We fight to win, and we don't waste time. And we will kill you.
In Washington, D.C., Rob Scott, 7 News.
Iran has attempted to launch a new attack on Cyprus, where Britain has a strategic airbase. Live to Europe correspondent Ben Downey in London. Ben, what more can you tell us?
Tim, the Cypriot government has revealed Iran fired 2 attack drones at RAF Akrotiri, but thankfully They were intercepted and dealt no damage. This follows an earlier strike that dealt minimal damage with no casualties. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer confirming that US bombers aren't using any of its bases in Cyprus and the Mediterranean to attack Iran, saying that the US is only able to use those facilities for what he says are defensive purposes. And it's caused a split between the UK and US, two nations who normally enjoy what's called the special relationship, but the closest of allies tonight are drifting apart. Ange.
Ben, thank you. As the world watches the actions of the US and Israel, our government is in a tricky diplomatic position. It's been a juggling act for Anthony Albanese to spell out Australia's stance.
Against the backdrop of Emirates aircraft grounded from flying out to the Middle East, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney flies in to Sydney. For the Australian government, a like-minded leader on Iran, both countries insisting...
We support the US-led action here.
But with qualifications.
At its core, this is about preventing Iran from ever being able to acquire a deployable nuclear weapon.
Canada supports the United States acting to prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon.
And to prevent Iran from continuing to threaten international peace and security.
Like-minded too on dodging questions on Donald Trump's other objective, forcing regime change in breach of international law.
It is for the US and Israel to explain the legal basis.
From Liberal Andrew Hastie.
War is one of those things that's very unpredictable.
Something his frontline role with the SAS in Afghanistan taught him.
It's a very high-risk strategy for President Trump, and we don't know which way it's going to go.
Mark Carney will address the Parliament here on Thursday. Canada's position, like Australia's, one of strategic ambiguity, all the way with Donald Trump, except when he's breaking international law, while other leaders aren't so subtle. Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez condemns the US-led strikes as unjustified, banning the US from using joint bases in Spain, while Britain's Sir Keir Starmer backtracks, allowing the US to use Britain's Indian Ocean bases in Diego Garcia. But
we are not joining the US and Israeli offensive strikes.
And France's Emmanuel Macron increases his own stockpile of nuclear warheads, while in our region, Indonesia's Prabowo Subianto, the leader of the world's largest Muslim state, is offering to broker peace with Iran, something that tonight seems a long way away. Penny Wong says the challenge of helping so many Australians out of the Middle East dwarfs any consular operation any Australian government has faced before. The few commercial flights that are operating still present the best options. And senior ministers are expressing unease privately tonight about exactly where the US-led campaign is heading. One telling 7 News it's impossible for them to explain America's strategic endgame in Iran when Donald Trump doesn't seem to be able to do it himself. Tim.
Mark Riley, thank you. The war has thrown travel plans into chaos for thousands of Australians, and the situation is changing by the hour. Laura Turner has the latest developments on the travel turbulence.
A handful of flights did take off from Abu Dhabi and Dubai last night, despite that airspace being closed. They were mainly cargo and repatriation flights with Etihad and Lufthansa, landing in a number of cities, including Amsterdam, Paris, Munich and London. Given the precarious security situation, these A380s took off and climbed fast. Air trackers showed them travelling at 3,000 feet per minute, which is double the usual speed. DFAT is now advising Australians not to travel to the UAE and for those already there to shelter in place. Anyone in Israel, Iran, UAE or Qatar is encouraged to register with DFAT's crisis registration portal. Emirates and Qatar Airways still aren't taking off from that airspace either. Etihad is operating specially approved repatriation flights out of Abu Dhabi. The US has advised its citizens to immediately leave the region, though it's not offering evacuation flights. For Australians wanting to travel to Europe, the best bet is with Singapore Airlines, Cathay Pacific, or with one of the many Chinese airlines.
And the popular Perth to London flight has now been impacted. It will no longer be direct. The plane will now need to stop in Singapore to refuel, taking a longer route to avoid the Middle East. The stopover will allow the plane...
Weekdays.